Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's Plant-Based Churrasco. Today we're looking at Solarpunk, Ecological and Fantastical Stories in a Sustainable World. It is an anthology of Brazilian short stories edited by Gerson Lodi Ribeiro and translated by Fabio Fernandes. Now, I'm reading this book as part of my Diversity Calendar Reading Challenge, and I'm not doing this because I'm some sort of cultural savant with all the answers, but because I want to learn, and I've learned a lot just by picking this book to read it all. September 15th to October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month, and Hispanic refers to cultures with a Spanish language heritage. Brazil was colonized by the Portuguese, so they speak Portuguese, not Spanish. So that heritage would be considered Latino. However, when I search for when is Latino Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month pops up, and it says that even though it's called Hispanic Heritage Month, Latino culture is often celebrated during that time period too. So, if I've made a faux pas by covering a Brazilian book for Hispanic Heritage Month, I apologize. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just trying to learn, and the nuances of language, geography, and culture are complex. So, what is solarpunk then? Well, it is a genre marked by hope for a sustainable future. So instead of imagining doom and gloom of nuclear apocalypses or climate change annihilation, it envisions a world where clean energy has shaped the human experience for the better. Except this collection. This collection is about how, even with clean energy, the world will still be a dangerous, shitty place. The editor says in his foreword that this is some of the earliest solarpunk, and that, from their perspective, clean energy is just another tool for humans to use and abuse, especially corrupt governments and corporations. Every story is about the misuse of clean energy. For example, human corpses are used as fuel in cars. Green people with chlorophyll in their pigment are called racial slurs and gunned down in racially motivated murders. Genetically modified crops are used to manufacture a gas that drives people berserk so they butcher each other, and children are given dangerous operations to install solar panels into their bodies. So, if a book wants to be grim and macabre, that's fine. How about the writing? Unfortunately, I was straight up not having a good time with this book. The stories are all presented in dull info dumps within uninteresting frameworks. For example, it's mostly conversations in restaurants, transcripts from radio broadcasts, or dialogue from classroom discussions. The prose was about as engaging as a technical manual. And also, the ideas of solarpunk and clean energy weren't really explored in any depth. It was just kind of a veneer over most of the stories. You could have swapped out the parts about green energy with pretty much any other sci-fi trope and it wouldn't have really mattered. However, the last story in the collection is by the editor. And oh wow, this story jumps the shark with a solar-powered bullet train and goes way off the rails into a valley of organically grown hemp. It's about this secret agent cybernetic super soldier who has to battle in the rings of Jupiter. The prose is like an episode of Power Rangers where the characters shout technologically advanced sounding words with gusto. It was one of the worst things I've ever read, and also one of the best things I've ever read, and I'm still not quite sure what the heck it was about. Overall, though, the book as a whole had dull presentation, dry prose, and didn't do a whole lot with the solarpunk concepts, so I really can't recommend this book. For me, it was a one-star read, but I am going to consider that originally this was written in Portuguese. Maybe something was lost in the translation, so I'm going to give the authors the benefit of the doubt and bump my rating up to 2 stars. And I am still glad that I read it because I tried something new. Hope you're doing well, and thanks for watching.
Ah! Após 10.000 anos estou livre. É hora de conquistar a Terra.
Alfa, Rita se libertou. Recrute um grupo de adolescentes com garra.
Marginally compromised water tightness. Nanobot repairs in progress. The primary content is not at immediate risk of suffocation. At least this. They both stumble for long seconds, struggling over the slippery ice. Muscular amplification required in 62%, the VIB warns them. Under current conditions, the maximum available power is 82%. Enable maximum power, Jonas shouts. No! Maximum power available for 23 seconds. He can stop the advance of the deadly claws after all. Without the help of the Brazilian operative, the VIB puts the laser trigger in standby. Emergency power available for continuous flow shooting!